I'm super excited because Janie and I have had some really cool conversations around faith. She runs a nonprofit called Church on the Dirt, which is actually really cool because, and she'll tell you more about it, but you guys are busy playing all weekend. And so trying to get to church on the weekends can be kind of hard. And they actually set up like tents at ballparks and do basically just bringing the church to the dirt, literally church on the dirt. So it's cool. It's a cool concept. But yeah, she's out in California right now. I know that you guys read the bio in the email, but for those that are watching this on the replay, Janie Reed is originally from Placentia, California, and played 4 years of college at the University of Oregon, becoming an All-American 3 times, which is a huge deal, and attending the Women's College World Series 3 out of her 4 years. She was selected to the U.S. Women's National Softball Team her senior year and has been a member ever since. She was recently selected to the Olympic team, Team USA, and will compete for a gold medal in the Summer Games in 2021. She is married to Jake Reed, a professional baseball player, and is co-founder of the ministry called Church on the Dirt. COTD's mission is to bring church to the field, be a light in the softball community. Couldn't have said it any better. Janie, take it away.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate all of you guys getting on. I think this is super awesome.
So if you just want to start with kind of, we know a little bit about you. I guess the first question would be, kind of give us the roadmap of what are you excited about and where are you at now, and what does your next year look like?
Yeah. So, I thought that in a month I would be going to Japan. We were scheduled to leave, I think, July 6th to go over to Japan and get acclimated with the time change and jet lag and train over there and get used to the weather and everything like that. And then our first game was supposed to be, I think, the 25th or the 26th. So, so I thought I was going to be leaving for the Olympics in a month, and instead it's going to be over a year until that possibly happens. There has been some talk of, like, if we don't find a vaccine for coronavirus, like, are the Olympics going to get canceled? Because the Olympics, it's like billions of dollars are going into this thing. So if there are no fans allowed, they're just really concerned about logistics and things like that. So and you may or may not know, but the last time softball was in the Olympics was 2008. So, and it's already been voted down for the 2024 Olympics in Paris. So that means that this is kind of like a once in a lifetime shot for us softball players to get to play in the Olympics. And so, I think one of the things that I love about what Coach AB does is that, like, she works on your mental skills, and that's definitely what a lot of us have had to apply to our lives right now, just going through such an unknown time. Everybody's going through an unknown time. A lot of things are up in the air, but just specifically to my life, I would say that there are a lot of unknowns. So I signed with the professional team, the Chicago Bandits, and then 2 weeks later they canceled the season, which was kind of a bummer. So I got to be I'm still a Chicago Bandit, but won't get to play this season. They kind of want to give us the opportunity to still come out and work out. So I'm looking at that and going to see if that's worth it. And then in mid-August, there's actually a new softball league, professional league, being launched called Athletes Unlimited. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about it, but it's a crazy structure. There's like no coaches, and each week the top 4 players get to like draft their team out of all of the players, and so you have a different team each week, and it's 6 weeks total. So it's kind of a crazy concept, but we're just kind of all trying to get out on the field, like I'm sure you guys are. So I'm hopefully going to play in that too, and we don't think that we're going to have any fans for that. But they're saying it's going to be probably on CBS Sports, so keep you guys eyes out for that so you can watch it. But after that, I'm on I have like some leadership roles with USA Softball outside of being a player. So I'm on a task force with a few of my other teammates and some staff members at USA Softball to try to figure out what our tour is going to look like next year. So this whole year, we're supposed to be on a 7-month-long tour getting ready for the Olympics. And unfortunately, because we are in and out of the Olympics, that makes funding go up and down. And so we're trying to figure out how do we, go on tour next year when a lot of our funding has been taken away. So I know that's not like the glamorous side of, Team USA, but it's kind of like the reality. And I think that it's cool for you guys to understand that, being a female athlete, especially, you have the opportunity to really get involved behind the scenes with your sport, because there's so much building and so much growth to do. So I think it's inspiring to, hear some of those things that happen off the field.
That is awesome. And that's what we've been trying to key into more, is that I think we see Janie crushing it on the field, and then she got drafted, and then, you're on Team USA, and we see, Twitter, and we see Instagram, and we see the glorious side. And so you just keyed into that. And I guess one of the questions that I would lead into, and a lot of the girls have this on their minds that they may not actually ask this question, but talk about some of your struggles and how they made you stronger.
Yeah. I definitely I know nobody likes to fail, but I have, my track record growing up was not handling failure well at all. And so I've had a long journey trying to figure out, how do I handle failure? How do I turn losses into wins? And I've found a few different things. I would say all of my growth really stemmed from a giant bump in the road, which was my sophomore year. My shoulder had been popping out of place and popping back into place since my senior year of high school. And then it happened so many times that my shoulder was just really unstable. I had to have surgery. It wasn't my throwing arm. It was my catching arm, which is weird, but it originally happened because of diving and slide bys and stuff like that. So it was the first time that softball was taken away. And I really had to ask myself, who am I without softball? And had to really build that foundation. And that's why I'm so passionate about Church on the Dirt, because I know that, as much as we may love something, if that is the ultimate thing and it gets taken away, we're going to be a big mess, and so if we can have a foundation of something that can never get taken away, then even if, I have to have surgery, I have an injury that takes me away from my sport, I can't play my sport for some reason, it's still going to be hard. It's still going to be heartbreaking, but you have something to fall back on, and you have a foundation that can't be ruined and can't be taken away from you. So, some of my struggles have been injuries. I've had, personal relationship things that I've gone through. And I think everything really led me to this conclusion of if my goal in life and on my team is to be a light to other people, then failure is no longer just failure. It's an opportunity to show people let's say if I fail in a game, that's an opportunity to show people, okay, I care more about my teammates than my own failures. Or this is an opportunity for me to show everyone that my ultimate hope is not in my results. It's in something so much greater. And for me, that's my faith. And so using failure as an opportunity instead of just failure being failure, or to learn, even if you learn something from a failure, then it's not a failure, it's a win. And really becoming process oriented was super huge for me, because I've always been a result oriented person. Being a lefty slapper, you're expected to get on all the time, and your batting average is expected to be pretty high. And so those are all the things that my mind was really focused on when it came to softball. And I've always just kind of been a perfectionist in my life. And I remember one time we had a mental coach come and talk to our team at Oregon. And I was talking about how I feel like me being a perfectionist has gotten me to where I am today. And one of my coaches said, no, like your drive and your competitiveness has gotten you to where you are today. Your perfectionism is actually holding you back. And that made me like, I was like, whoa, I had never thought of it like that. And it really made me rethink what I thought was necessary for me to succeed, and really think, okay, how can I get like even better? And the answer for that for me really was learning how to deal with failure and learning to turn failure into something else, or focus on the process, or whatever it may be. That being said, I'm 27, still playing softball and still struggling with that, because nobody likes failing, and it's hard. It's hard to keep perspective. And so, yeah, those struggles have definitely helped me grow, but everything is a process. Just like I'm saying, even learning how to turn failure into purposefulness is a journey. So I'm a recovering perfectionist.
That's awesome. I'm sure that you guys have follow-up questions to that. And Janie hit on some of your skills, right? Skill number 2 is identity and failure recovery, right? And we talk about those things. And team 4 and 5, we're not there yet. You guys are just diving into those chapters this week. But yeah, see, I knew you guys would have questions. Reagan, what you got for Janie?
So what was your biggest like aha moment when you were playing softball that like really clicked for you when you got taught it?
Like mentally or physically?
Mentally.
I would say that a big aha moment for me was, 2 things come to mind. One of them was one of my coaches gave me a CD of a recording of another like mental skills coach talking, and he was saying like batting average is evil because you can do everything right and still get out, right? Like you can hit a shot, like a line drive shot right at someone, and it gets caught, and in your batting average, it's an out. It literally doesn't count for anything good anywhere in any of your stats. Now, like you're seeing in baseball, they have like stats for like hard hits, but like nobody really looks at those, you know, like when people look at your batting average, you know, it's going to go down as a failure, even though you did everything right. So that really helped me shift my focus from like, okay, if I hit a hard line drive right at someone and it gets caught, like I'm going back to the dugout, like, good, like I'm good, you know, that's a win for me, instead of like, oh, that always happens to me, because that type of attitude like ultimately like compounds itself and will make you feel like you had a bad day even if you had a great day. And so I started to, instead of in my head, and I try to like lose track of, you know, like, oh, I'm 3 for 4 or I'm 1 for 5. I don't want that in my head at all when I'm playing. And so instead, I just really focus on each at bat as like a project. And so I really just started to try to focus on, I think the first step for me was like, okay, instead of counting 2 for 4, I'm going to count like how many like quality at bats did I have today? And if I didn't have a quality at bat, like what was the reason behind it? And so that really helps shift my focus from, okay, I got 2 or 3 hits today. That means I'm a good softball player and it doesn't matter what I do the rest of the game, to like each at bat, each pitch, I'm just like really in tune with like working to become better. And I'm not so focused on like getting to this ending point, because I don't know if you guys have ever thought this way, but like if in a game, if I get 2 or 3 hits, like I feel like I'm like, okay, check, I'm good. It doesn't even, you know, even if I have 1 or 2 more at bats, I'm like, I don't really care, because I'm like, oh, I'm, you know, I had a good day, instead of like just really focusing on the process. And even if you have those 2 at bats, like one of the things that the guy said when he was talking about like batting average is evil is like want the 4th at bat. want the, because normally we get like 3 at-bats per game. So it's like, want that next at-bat, whether you're having a good day or a bad day, want the next at-bat, because that's what makes our game fun. It's like, I want to get up again. I want to get up with bases loaded, changing have to get to. That was another big thing for me, because I would put so much pressure on myself when I would come up in a pressure situation. So on deck, I would change that in my mind of like, instead of I have to get this done for my team, like I have to get on base, I was like, I get to be up in this situation. There are 9 people in the lineup and there are people on the bench, and I get to walk up to the plate right now and have the opportunity to do something awesome. And then another thing that was a little bit more like spiritual for me, I remember thinking, and I don't know if you guys are old enough to really think this way, but I remember thinking when I was in college, like there are, people suffering all over the world in third world countries. They don't have food to eat. They don't have a place to sleep. And I am like here playing softball. And I was just kind of like, what is the purpose behind, what I'm doing? Like, could I be more useful somewhere else? And just like thinking more of on a global worldly perspective. And I really felt like God just like revealed to me, like, yeah, that's true. There are people suffering all over the world, but there are also girls that are suffering on your team, and they don't have any good coping mechanisms, and they don't have any, any background of faith, and they have, that's why I put you there, so that you could make a difference on your team, that you could, be a positive influence on your team. And ever since then, like that's been the biggest aha moment for me, because ever since then, I've never looked at my teammates the same. Like I've always just looked at, whatever team God places me on, that's an opportunity to like be a positive influence to someone that may have not had that before. I don't know if you guys have ever had coaches that are negative influences on you. I've had coaches like that where it's like, wow, you just like ruined my day during practice. And, I want to be the opposite of that. Like I want to make people's day better by them being around me.
Awesome question, Reagan.
Thanks.
So let's get into that. I want to know more about your faith journey, and knowing that faith is a part of the Fearless Warrior program, and trying to tie that into, well, we are fearless because of the foundation that we have set. And obviously that's a really strong part of what makes you fearless. So what does that look like on the field and maybe off the field?
Yeah, I think on the field, I loved what I heard someone say, like, as Christian athletes, like, we shouldn't be soft because we're supposed to love everyone and like, oh, everything's okay, even if I don't do well. Like, that's not, like, if anything, we should be more fearless because we're not afraid of failing. We're not afraid that if we fail that like our whole identity is crushed, or, like, even if like I had parents, even to this day, like I'll still tell my parents, like, I know you don't mean to, but I feel pressure because you guys are so happy when I do well, that when I don't do well, I'm like automatically assuming that you're disappointed in me because you're not having as much fun watching me because I'm not doing well. So it's just like, I think, understanding that, I just think like being honest and having honest conversations. But I think like on the field, having that fearless mentality and connecting my faith comes from a place of like, I'm going to go all out because I'm not afraid of the consequences. And I think before in my life, like fear was like crippling for me in the game because I hated to fail so much. And I thought that, I would worry about my parents not being happy with me, or I would worry about, like, when I was in college, I had fans, like girls your age, like, tell me like that they love watching me play. And if I'm not playing well, like, oh my gosh, like I'm disappointing, like all these little girls, like it was like so like crippling to me to think about all of those things. And so that was like a real game changer for me, is just like, ultimately, like, the only opinion that truly, truly matters is God's. And if I'm, like, you know, pleasing him, then, like, that's all that matters. And a byproduct of that is, like, if you're pleasing him on the field, like, you're most likely going to please the people that truly matter to you as well. Off the field, I think that, you know, it's given me the ability to have, you know, I love, like, I took a conflict resolution class in college and I loved it because, you know, it gives me, I just think that, like, standing on something so firm and being really confident in what you believe in and in your faith, it allows you to speak up because you're not as, like, you know, wishy-washy about, like, what you believe. And, you know, obviously, like, if you have faith in your life, then you believe that, like, God is love, and our job here on earth is to love God and to love others. So if you're always coming from that place, then you don't ever have to be afraid that you're going to be, like, you know, you're going to say something that isn't necessarily, like, with good intention. And so I think, like, it's given me the ability to have difficult conversations with people because I try to come to it with a humble perspective and, you know, with the idea in my mind that, like, ultimately, like, I want to make this person feel heard. I want to make this person feel loved. Even if we disagree, like, this is going to be a productive conversation. So I've seen it in conflict resolution. I've seen it in, I just feel like I have kind of like an entrepreneurially, I don't even know how to say that word, but I'm entrepreneurially minded. When I first got out of college, I started this thing called Ignite and Uplift. I used to, like, make mugs and journals, and, like, it flopped. Like, I did it for like a year and then I just realized, like, this isn't really working for me, but it's like, I did it, you know, it was on my heart to do it. I did it. It didn't work. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, maybe that's not what God has for me. And then that's when, like, Church on the Dirt started. And I just feel like God gives me the courage to do the things that he's asking me to do. And I think a lot of times, like, as you get older, like, God may put an idea on your heart or a passion on your heart, but a lot of times we're too scared to really pursue it and to go after it. So I think trying new things has definitely been, like, has given me a lot of fruit, I think, that wouldn't be there if I was afraid to step out.
And look how far it's come, even with Church on the Dirt, and even with your faith, and even with the Olympic team, right? And, like, seeing that all tied together from an outsider's perspective has been really, really cool.
Thanks.
I love that. I know you guys have more questions. I do want to be mindful of time, so we have about 4 more minutes. And then we'll make sure that you guys have a way to get in touch with Janie via Instagram or Twitter and Church on the Dirt and all that good stuff. What else you guys got? I know you guys have questions about Team USA. What does Team USA do, right? What's the day in the life of Team USA? Is that a good question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I take it. Give us the we all know that COVID has thrown a wrench in everything. What was life like in February, in March?
Yeah, so this year we had a very unique opportunity to play for almost an entire year. So normally our season is June, July, August. And this year, because we were getting ready for the Olympics, we got to play a lot earlier. So our tour was kind of crazy. Like, we were basically living out of our suitcases and going from hotel to hotel, traveling all over the place, playing different teams. And, you know, in the mix of that, like, I'll try to make it as glamorous as possible. But, you know, before the tour started, we got to go to Washington, D.C. and New York City and do, like, press stuff. And then, you know, when we're training in Florida, some of us have, like, photo shoots going on, like, between practices and stuff like that. So there are some, like, fun things that are definitely unique to playing for Team USA as opposed to playing for a college team. But yeah, it was, like, either a practice day or a game day. And on practice days, we would normally have either lifting or conditioning, and then we would have practice, go to like the training room, get meals, whatever you need to do on your own time. And then game days, it was normally like we would practice in the morning and then we would have a game in the evening. And then after the game, you know, we have like our autograph sessions and stuff like that. So it was just a lot of travel and softball, but also at the same time, like trying to get what we need on the nutrition side, on the treatment side. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun because it was very similar to, you know, what baseball players go through, you know, like that's what you do for your job. A lot of us have other jobs outside of playing for Team USA. So normally we would like work the rest of the year, like January through May, and then play USA softball during the summer and then continue your job. And so it was really cool to just like the only thing you have to worry about is playing softball. And that's definitely like our dream for the future of softball, is that you guys would be able to just play softball as a living, as professional softball players.
Can we get like a whoop whoop for that? Like, you guys, seriously, if that's how far our sport progressed in even just 3 to 5 years, that would be amazing. I love that. Okay, so I know that this time went really, really fast. I had a feeling that that would happen because this has just been a really good conversation. If the girls have questions, what's your preferred way of getting a hold of you?
Yeah, I know this is like super old fashioned, but like the way that I best communicate is email. So you can send them my email, but if you want to reach out to me through my personal Instagram, it's _Janie Reed. And I'll try to check my DMs and just say like, you know, I was in the Fearless Warriors group. So that way I know who you are, but I would love to follow up with any questions that you guys have.
Awesome. Reagan, what you got?
I have 2 questions. Do you know Taylor Edwards?
I do.
She gives me catching lessons.
Oh my gosh. Tell her I say hi. I miss her so much. Isn't she the nicest person ever? She's super positive. I love her.
And what position do you play?
Oh, I play outfield.
Awesome.
Yeah. The position nobody really chooses until they're like 14 or 15. I feel like up until then, it's like the outfielders are just like, I'm not playing my infield position right now, so I'm in the outfield.
Right. But you're going to break that stereotype, and everyone's going to say, I want to play outfield because Jimmy does, right? That's the goal.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this was really, really good. You get to be a part of our tradition. So I know everyone is zoomed out, but we started a tradition where we take a screenshot and we do something fun. So if anyone has an idea for a screenshot, we do, you know, tongue out, we do hands up, we do whatever. Do you have anything that would be fun to do?
That's a super fun idea, but I can't think of anything.
Somebody back her up. Kelsey, you got something?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, Jaden's doing deuces. Okay. All right, get ready. Here comes the screenshot. Ava, are you gonna turn your camera on? I don't know what device you're on, but I can add you later. Oh, Ash is around. All right, throw up your deuces. Got it. Janie, thank you so much. This was awesome, and I will talk to you later.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.